What's going on, guys? It is Panchino here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys the 2020 Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for Rust. This video is going to be helping you guys achieve the very best gameplay experience possible by helping you maximize your FPS, reduce latency and lag, fix any stuttering you're experiencing, and helping you guys achieve the very best smooth experience possible whilst maintaining a great visual fidelity. This video is going to be containing a plethora of optimizations towards the game itself. This applies to everyone watching the video regardless of your system specs, whether you're running on an old potato end laptop all the way up to the latest and greatest in gaming hardware. This video is going to be featuring configs, tweaks and optimizations towards all system types regardless of your system specs. So guys, if you guys do enjoy this video, please leave a like on the videos, it helps me out tremendously. And if you guys do enjoy my content, please do consider pressing the subscription button alongside the bell notification to be notified instantly of whenever a brand new video goes live on the channel. To start off inside of the video, first of all, what we're going to be doing is actually setting up a quick preparation step to ensure that you guys can follow along with this video safely, easily, and have the full comfort knowing that you can revert all changes you're about to make with a few clicks of a button. One, so you can see and test these optimizations themselves after you've completed all of them, and two, you can then make a decision whether or not you want to keep them. What we're going to be doing is setting up a quick system restore point. To do this, we're going to be navigating to the bottom left hand side, clicking on the Windows key and typing in system space restore just like so. Click on the create a restore point option. With inside of it, go up to system protection, go down to the system restore tab, scroll down until you find your C drive with inside of here, highlight the local disk C drive like so, go down to configure, set the maximum slider down here to about 5%, make sure turn on system protection is enabled up here in the top, press apply, press OK. Then go down to local disk C drive again, highlight it once more, this time going down to the create button. At this point you're simply going to be naming the backup, something that you'll remember, so we'll just call this Rust backup, just like so, then go ahead and press create. After a few short moments the system restore point will then be successfully created, go ahead and press close and we're then good to go. To ensure that you guys are getting the best results from this guide as possible, I have compiled an FPS increase pack in the description down below. Simply navigate into the description, click on one of the download links. If you're having any issues downloading the file from the first download link, try out the backup download link underneath it, download the file, place it onto your desktop. To open up and use this folder, all you simply need to go ahead and do is click on the folder, right click, then select the extract here option. If you don't have the option for extract here, you'll need to go over to Google WinRAR or 7-zip, download one of those programs, you don't need both of them, install it to your PC, come back with inside of here, right click, then select extract here. Once you guys have done that, you then move up with a folder on your desktop with an identical name. Before jumping into the nitty-gritty optimizations themselves, it's very important to make sure that you're actually running on the latest version of Windows 10, which is available for most people watching this video. It's fast, free, and easy to download and install. To see if there is an update available, or which version of Windows you're running on, navigate to the bottom left-hand side, click on the Windows key again, this time type in WinVer, just like so, click on the WinVer command. As you can see, I'm running on Microsoft Windows version 1909. At the time of recording this video, the latest version of Windows 10 you want to be running on is 2004. To go and see if this update is available for your system, go ahead and press OK. Navigate to the bottom left hand side once again, type in check for updates just like so, go ahead and press enter. With inside of it, go ahead and click on the check for updates tab. This will then go ahead and refresh and tell you if any Windows updates are available. If you are met with this screen here, which says feature update to Windows 10 version 2004 is currently unavailable, this means that the update isn't compatible with your PC as of yet, and you'll have to wait a little bit longer. For those of you that do have this update available or are already running on version 2004 or newer, it doesn't matter which version of Windows 10 you're running on to follow along with this video, as this video is compatible with all Windows 10 operating system versions, but for the best results possible, it is worthwhile updating to 2004 if it is available. So to kick things off, first of all, what we're going to be doing is actually applying a few EXE or application fixes to Rust itself. You might have already set some of these optimizations with inside of this video from previous videos of mine, as most Windows updates and updates to the game can actually restore most of these optimizations. For this, what we're going to go ahead and do is actually navigate with inside of Steam, navigate over to Rust with inside of Steam, right click on Rust, go down to properties. With inside of here, we're then going to go up to the local files tab found here at the top, click on browse local files. Then what we're going to be doing is going down to the Rust exe, right clicking, selecting properties, going to the compatibility tab, ensuring that disable full screen has been checked, change high DPI and override high DPI, OK, apply and OK. We're then going to repeat the optimization for the Rust client, so once again, properties, compatibility, disable full screen, override high DPI, OK, apply and OK. We can then close out of the game application and come back with inside of there in a few steps time. I'm then going to set up a quick setting with inside of Windows game mode to further optimize it towards better performance. Go down to the bottom left hand side to the Windows button, click on the Windows button, type in game mode just like so, click on game mode settings, ensure that the Windows game mode is switched to the on position, then going down to the Windows game bar. With inside of game bar, make sure that this option found here at the top, which is record game clips, screenshots and broadcast using game bar, is switched off. This will disable the Xbox DVR features built into Windows, but you shouldn't be using those to record anyway, as there's much more efficient ways to be doing this. And we can now apply a brand new optimization. This optimization will actually disable the inbuilt Windows profile for Rust, in which it uses to deliver the Windows game optimization. To do this, it's very simple and easy to do. Navigate to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows button, simply then go ahead and type in regedit, just like so, then go ahead and press enter. Go ahead and press yes. With inside of it, you're going to be going inside of the HKey local machine folder, highlighted here. Once inside of there, go down to system, double click on system, then go down to game config store, double click on game config store, then go inside of the children folder, and this folder will be filled with other folders inside of here with random numbers and letters. Go ahead back up to the children folder in the top left hand side, right click on the children folder, click on find. This time you're going to be typing in Rust, just like so, then click on find next. With inside of there, you should then be seeing a folder is then highlighted on the left hand side. Then with inside of here, go to the matched exe full path, and you should see that this matches your Rust install directory. Go ahead to the left hand side to the highlighted folder, right click on the highlighted folder, then click on export. Simply then go ahead and save this to somewhere you're going to remember it and call it Rust default. I'm going to be saving mine to the desktop. If you wish to get it back for any reason and revert this optimization, you can do so by simply double clicking on the key found here on the left hand side, clicking on yes, yes and OK, and that'll then be added back to the Windows directory. Once you've got the backup completed, go back over to the highlighted folder once again, right click, this time selecting the option to delete. Once that's then been deleted, we then need to go ahead and find the Rust client folder. So go ahead back to the children folder once again, right click, click on find, click on Rust once again and hit find next. You'll then be given another folder which should then be the same installation directory, but this one should say Rust client. We're then going to repeat those steps, so go over to the highlighted folder, right click, hit export, call this one Rust client default, and save it into the same location. And again, once that's then been saved and exported, go ahead in the folder, right click, then select delete, and the optimization has now been completed. To follow up that optimization with some more registry optimizations which are very quick and easy to apply, we're going to be going inside of the FPS increase pack provided, going inside of the optimizations folder, and going into the reg optimization fixes folder. With inside of here, you'll be seeing a plethora of optimizations which can be enabled very quickly and easily by simply double clicking on the registry tweak. This will then change the values automatically for you. And we can then start off with disable DVR1. Select yes, yes and OK, disable DVR2, and just repeat these steps for all of the optimizations with inside of here, game optimizations, and you'll then be left with low to medium end and medium to high end optimizations. You're only going to be clicking on the file which corresponds to the system specs in which you're using. For me, I'm recording this video on my high-end gaming PCs. Double click on the optimization that matches your system specs, press yes, yes and OK, you're then good to go. All those optimizations have been completed, and we can then go ahead and exit out. We can then install our brand new 2020 launch options for the game. To get these, what we're going to be doing is going inside of the FPS increase pack provided once again, going inside of the launch options text document found here. To set your launch options up, it's very simple and easy to do. First of all, you need to go to the -maxmem X value found here, remove this X, and you then need to put in the value which matches your system RAM found here at the bottom. If you're not entirely sure how much system RAM your system has, go down to the bottom to your taskbar, right click, open up in Task Manager, go to the Performance tab, go down to Memory, and there you go. In the top right hand side, you'll see how much memory is installed in your system. For me, I'm using 32 gigabytes, so I need to get this value found here, which is 30,000. Right click, select copy, go up to the equals sign and paste that. We then need to do that for our CPU count. For these values, you need to go back inside of the task manager, go to performance, click on CPU. For the CPU count, we need to set this to our CPU cores found here in the bottom right. So as you can see, I have 8, so this value is going to be set to 8 for me. Then for the X threads or EX threads option, this value then needs to be set to the amount of logical processors. As you can see here, I have 16. Once all of those values have then been set, what we can simply then go ahead and do is all the way from the right hand side to the left, highlight, copy, just like so, exit out and save those, minimize task manager, go inside of Steam, right click on Rust, go to properties, go to set launch options. If there's any launch options currently with inside of here, highlight all of them, remove them, then right click and hit paste. Once you guys have done that, go ahead and press OK. If you do not find yourself using the Steam overlay whilst in game very often, I would definitely recommend turning this off, as you can see a significant FPS boost from doing so. You also want to turn off the use desktop game theater option, then come down to the Steam input per game setting, force this off, and for the BPM overlay, force that off as well. And for most people, turning them off will give you better FPS. Then go ahead and press close. And piggybacking off of that, we can now install our 2020 optimized game config. Go inside of the FPS increase pack provided once again, go inside of the configs folder, and you'll then be met with 4 folders. You simply want to click on the folder or config which best matches the desired experience you wish to go for. For most people running at around about 1080p to 1440p on somewhat capable PCs, recommended competitive is going to be giving you guys the best FPS with a great visual balance, more tailored towards a smoother, faster paced game. So click on the folder you're going to be going with, double click, and you'll then be met with a client.cfg. What we're simply going to be doing is dragging this folder over to the right hand side like so, going back inside of Steam, right clicking on Rust once again, going to properties, going to local files found here at the top, clicking on browse local files, dragging this over to the left hand side. Then with inside of here, simply go inside of the CFG folder, then navigating over to the right hand side to the optimized config folder, dragging the client CFG with inside of there, dropping it with inside of the game folder, and replacing the file with inside of this destination. And that config has now successfully been installed. This now leads us onto an extremely quick optimization for those of you running on Discord. If Discord is open in the background, even if you're not talking to people on it, if the application is running on your PC at the same time as you playing Rust, make sure that you do apply this optimization as this does not cause any slowdowns. Simply go ahead and navigate inside of Discord, go to the bottom left hand side to your user settings cog found here, click on user settings. On the left hand side once again, go to the appearance tab, scroll all the way down with inside of here, and we're going to be looking for the option titled hardware acceleration. Go over to the flicker switch. If this is turned on like mine is, go ahead to the flicker switch, turn it to the off position, press OK, Discord will then be restarted and hardware acceleration will then be disabled. For another quick optimization which comes in terms of system maintenance and which you should be performing around about once every 1 to 3 months. We can take ourselves to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key once again, this time typing in percentage, TEMP percentage just like so, then go ahead and pressing enter. This will then empty you into the Windows temporary folder. This folder is not automatically cleaned out, so depending on the age of your system install, this folder can be holding on to around about 80 plus gigabytes of dump files. This can not only free up space within inside of your local disk C drive, which some of you could be running on an SSD, but it can also open up space for you to be able to reinstall Rust onto the C drive if that is your faster drive. So once inside of this folder, to clean it out, all you simply need to go ahead and do is highlight all the way from the top to the bottom, all the way down there. Once everything has been selected, right click, select delete. You'll then be met with this prompt found here, click do this for all current items, hit skip, and if that comes up again, click skip once again, and you'll more than likely be left with a few folders and files within inside of here. Again, you should be repeating that step around about once every month to stay on top of your system maintenance. And this now leads us on to some very important GPU or graphics card optimizations in which we can apply for the latest version of Windows and tailor them towards Rust itself. To kick things off with inside of here, first of all, what you need to do is to make sure that you're running on the latest graphics card drivers. These GPU driver updates are completely free from your GPU manufacturer and very easy and fast to install, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that now. Simply right click on your desktop, you'll either be seeing the NVIDIA control panel or you'll be seeing the AMD Radeon settings panel. With that information, all you simply need to do is navigate into the description down below, go down to the GPU updates links, then click on the corresponding link which matches your system specs, and you'll then be brought to this web page here. Go to the automatic driver updates utility found here, click download now, install the program. It will then get you up and running on the latest graphics card drivers and install those for you. For you AMD Radeon users, click on the link for you guys. It's a very similar process. Go down to the download now section for the auto detect and install graphics drivers for Windows, click download, install the program. It'll then get you up and running on the latest graphics card driver for your GPU. Once you guys have installed the latest graphics card drivers, it is highly recommended to quickly perform a system restart to ensure that Windows has detected those drivers and enabled any options which weren't previously enabled from your previous drivers. Take yourself to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows button, type in GPU settings just like so, then click on the graphics settings tab. With inside of here, what we're going to go ahead and do is at the top, if you do have this option available for your system, make sure that you do turn on the GPU hardware accelerated option found here at the top, click the flicker switch to the on position. It will then require you to restart your system again, but don't panic, we can restart our system before booting into the game finally at the end of the video. We're also going to be setting an option with inside of here for everyone. First of all, what you need to do is find out where your Rust is installed to. Easiest way and quickest way of doing this is to go inside of Steam, right click on Rust, go to properties, go to local files here, browse local files, go to the navigation bar and double click, highlight and select all of this directory, right click, select copy, exit out of this folder, go back inside of the graphics settings tab found here, click on classic app, click on browse, with inside of here go to the navigation bar at the top, double click, remove where it says desktop, press Ctrl and V once that's blank and press enter. Once you guys are inside of it, we're then going to go ahead and select the Rust client, then go down to the bottom right hand side and click add. Once you guys are done with inside of it, go to the options menu which becomes available and then set Rust to high performance. Go ahead and press save. We can then exit out of the GPU settings as optimization has been completed. Now for the most important GPU optimization of them all, take yourself into the FPS increase pack once again, this time going inside of the optimizations folder and go inside of the GPU settings folder. Click on the folder which corresponds to the graphics card manufacturer you have on your PC. You'll then be met with a selection of screenshots with inside of here which will show you guys how to get into the GPU settings and which settings to set up with inside of there. It's very simple and easy to do, just simply double click on these screenshots and follow along with them just like so. For this, go ahead and either open into the NVIDIA control panel or AMD Radeon settings panel. For you NVIDIA guys, go to the adjust image settings with preview tab found here at the top. Make sure that the middle option with inside of these three options is checked, go down to press apply, then go over to the manage 3D settings tab found here. With inside of here, we're then going to be going over to program settings, then go down to select a program to customize, go to the drop down menu and find Rust with inside of here. Go to the add button, try and find the Rust client with inside of this section found here in the drop down menu. As you can see, I can see mine there. But again, if you cannot still see the program, go to the bottom right hand side to the browse section. Once again, double click on the navigation bar and paste in that navigation we got earlier on, press enter, select the Rust client, then press open. The main option we're going to be looking for Rust is to go down to the low latency mode. Go into low latency mode and enabling this to ultra. This can drastically lower your input latency for the game, helping the game feel a lot more snappier and responsive. Part of the settings you set up earlier on following the screenshots with inside of the GPU settings folder should have optimized the rest of these settings to their optimum setting. Once you guys are done with inside of it, go to the bottom right hand side, make sure that you do press the apply button. And for those of you running on AMD Radeon software, to set the same optimization, go ahead and right click on your desktop, open up the AMD Radeon software panel. With inside of it, go to the gaming tab found up here in the top left hand side, then go into global graphics. With inside of it, we're then going to go down to the Radeon anti-lag option, ensure that this has then been enabled. You can also enable Radeon image sharpening with inside of here as well, as this can actually help improve your visual fidelity with inside of the game quite decently, and I like to go with a value of about 30%. Radeon Enhanced Sync can be enabled. I would experiment around with this option and see which option gives you the best overall experience, as it really depends on the monitor you're using as well. So try that option disabled and then try enabled and see which works best for you. Before closing off with the GPU optimizations themselves, I want to take this opportunity to showcase and recommend you guys follow the video on screen now. This video is my ultimate GPU overclocking guide, which is currently approaching the 4 million plus view mark. I recommend opening up the video and following along with that video once you're finished with this one. If you do have the slight bit of time extra to educate yourself on GPU overclocking, it's incredibly vital to do so. This will help you guys achieve around about 5 to 25% FPS increase across the board after all of these optimizations on every game you play. So again, that video can be found in the description down below and using the card on the top right hand side of the screen now. To get rolling with the final optimizations, first of all what we're going to be doing is ensuring that we're running on a custom power plan which tailors Windows performance towards gaming applications and other heavy workloads. For this optimization, navigate to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key once again, this time typing in power space plan just like so. Clicking on Edit Power Plan. With inside of it, go to the Power Options navigation bar at the top, click on Power Options, then go down to the Show Additional Power Plans with inside of here. With inside of here, you'll then be seeing all of the power plans available on your Windows PC. But unless you've manually come in here and enabled this optimization yourself in the past, you should not be seeing the Ultimate Performance Power Plan found here. This is a secret power plan which can be enabled with inside of any Windows 10 PC and can unlock the ultimate performance with inside of that PC and helping boost overall FPS. Take yourself to the top right hand side of the Power Options and minimize this, as we're going to be going back with inside of there in a bit. We can then take ourselves into the FPS increase pack provided, go inside of the command text document found here once again. We're then going to go up to the top and copy all of this command found here just like so, right click and select copy. Go ahead and exit out. This time navigate to the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key, type in CMD once again, right click on command prompt this time and make sure this is run as an administrator. Run the command prompt as an admin. Once inside of the CMD, go ahead and press Ctrl and then V on your keyboard to paste that command, press enter. You'll then be met with Power Scheme GUID Ultimate Performance. Go ahead and press X. We can then take ourselves back to the bottom to our taskbar, open up the Power Settings tab in which we minimized earlier, go to the navigation bar found here at the top once again, click on the refresh button, scroll all the way down to the bottom and you should be then seeing the Ultimate Performance Power Plan becoming selectable with inside of Windows. To select this power plan and enable it, it's very simple and easy to do. Go over to the small selectable circle next to it, click on the circle. Once the circle's filled, you've then enabled the power plan. So assuming that this video is now coming to a close, what we're going to be doing is preparing some steps with inside of Windows and closing out of other programs to ensure that we're allowing the game to have access to all of the resources possible with inside of your PC. For this, what I'd recommend doing is navigating to the bottom right hand side to the task icon tray, clicking on this up arrow and start closing out programs that you no longer need open. So after this video, if you're done using web browsers, make sure that you right click, select exit on those, exit out of any other game launchers in which you do not need running in the background to again free up some resources. Just while you're playing, if you're looking for a bit of an FPS increase, you could look into disabling your antivirus, which is very simple and easy to do in my case, right clicking on Malwarebytes and clicking on quit. So for the final two optimizations before we go ahead and boot the game, first of all what you need to go ahead and do is navigate inside of the FPS increase pack provided once again, go inside of the optimizations folder, this time going over to the ISLC program found with inside of here, dragging this folder and placing it on the desktop. Once ISLC has then been placed on your desktop, go inside of the folder by double clicking. The program is a basic 2-in-1 system or program optimizer which will help you reduce latency, reduce the input lag between your operating system, hardware and the game itself, and help you reserve a pool of RAM or keep RAM free in the background by actively removing stuff from your standby list. So once you guys got the program on your desktop, you're inside of the folder, double click on the exe to open it up. If the program doesn't automatically open up with inside of Windows, take yourself to the bottom right hand side, click on the task icon tray, then find the green monitor with inside of here and double click. First of all, take yourself to the bottom right hand side and click on the stop button. For the first box, we're going to be setting a value of 1024. For the second box, we need to customize this value depending on the system RAM you have installed. At the top here, you can see I have 32,000 megabytes or 32 gigabytes of system RAM installed. What we're simply then going to go ahead and do is roughly half the number of total system memory you have, roughly half that value, and put it into this box found here. So roughly roughly half of 32,000 is 16,000, so that's my value. We can then take ourselves over to the right hand side to enable custom time resolution, go to the wanted time resolution box, type in a value of 0.50, then use the delete key to remove the other values, just like so, then go down to the ISLC polling rate, set this to 1000 for lower end systems or laptops, and 500 for good PCs. Once you guys have got that set, what we can then go ahead and do is go to the bottom right hand side to click on start, and as you can then see, that's removed around about 22 gigabytes in my standby list, taking up resources and slowing down my system. We can then once again click on purge standby list, then minimize the program and leave that running every single time we're playing the game. There's only a few last optimizations or tweaks to actually apply with inside of the game to finalize this optimization guide. First of all, before doing anything with inside of it, it's highly recommended to actually boot into a server in which you wish to test your FPS on. Do bear in mind that your FPS will fluctuate depending on whether or not you're playing on official, community or modded. Now once you guys have booted into the server of your choice, go ahead and press the escape button. Go down to the options menu found here in the bottom left hand side. Starting off with inside of the actual options menu found here at the top, there's only going to be two options we're going to be changing with inside of here. Those being field of view found here at the top, so set this how you wish to do so. The main value we're going to be coming down with inside of here is to ensure that max Gibbs found here is set all the way to 0. Then going down to the screen option, ensuring that resolution is set to your native resolution, which is typically the max resolution you can set this to. For those of you looking for even further FPS games after this video and after setting all of these options up, you can come back with inside the resolution option and actually bump this down by around about 1 or 2. For those of you running on 1080p, you can come down to 1600 by 900 and try that out as well. Press apply, go back inside of the game, see how it looks, and if you're happy with how the game looks or is acceptable, go ahead and run that option as you could be seeing better FPS. Once resolution has then been set, come down to screen mode. For most of you watching this video, exclusive will be giving you guys the best FPS, but it's definitely worthwhile checking borderless as well. So apply borderless, see how the FPS changes in the bottom left hand side. If you're getting better FPS, keep borderless. If you're getting worse, go back to exclusive. Come down to VSync and ensure that VSync is turned off, then go to the FPS limit with inside of here, drag this all the way to the left to 0. Once that's been set, go ahead and press apply. Then come down to the graphics tab. With inside of here, for the most part, with the client CFG which you installed earlier on, most of these options should be set tailored towards the FPS config in which you used. So you don't really want to play around with these unless you really want to disable some of these options, or you want a slight bit of graphics fidelity on top of that. You can bump some of these options up, but your results will vary. Coming down to image effects, the only option you're really going to be wanting to change with inside of here for some of you is actually the anti-aliasing option. For most part, I recommend turning anti-aliasing off for everyone watching this video, but if you cannot stand how sharp the game looks and you don't like the jagged edges, try out FXAA. If that looks too blurry, go over to TSSAA. Again, this will slightly decrease your FPS, but you could be finding a better visual fidelity from using that. And again, for the experimental features, leave these how these are already set, unless you manually want one of these settings on or off. For the most part, what we're then going to go ahead and do is actually boot back inside of the game and just run around, look around and see what your overall FPS is like. For this optimization, what you need to go ahead and do is navigate into the description down below where you'll be seeing a download link for a tool called Process Lasso. This basically acts as an advanced Windows task manager which is already inside of Windows, but the reason you want to go with this program is this can set these optimizations automatically every single time the game is booted. For this, what we're going to go ahead and do is click on download now. Once the program has then been downloaded, install the program to your PC, then go ahead and double click and the program will open up just like so. At this point we can't apply the optimizations as the Rust exe or Rust client isn't actually running, so what we need to go ahead and do now once the program is opened is minimize the program, go into Steam, go to Rust and hit play. For now what we need to go ahead and do is simply minimize out of the game whilst keeping the game running, so Alt and Tab, and open up Process Lasso. You should then be able to find the Rust client with inside of the process names. Once you guys have found Rust client, right click on this. We then need to go to priority class, go to always, and set this to high. Go ahead and click on high, that will then be checked and you're then good to go. We then need to go ahead and right click on the Rust client again, go to the IO priority, go to always, set this to high. We're then going to go down to induce performance mode and click on induce performance mode, press OK. And for an optional optimization, for those of you running on relatively high core count CPUs, such as 6 cores, 12 threads and up, you can actually come inside of here once again, right click on the client, go to CPU affinity, always, and you can try out disabling CPU 0. To do this, you'll simply click on CPU 0 so it becomes unchecked, go back with inside of here, so CPU affinity, always, and you can then see it's unchecked. Once you guys have done that, we can then go ahead and actually minimize out of Process Lasso, and we're then good to go. The main FPS value we're going to be looking for is what our FPS dips down to. It's recommended to have an FPS graph like mine in the top left hand side enabled, and you can do this very easily. The smoother this graph, the smoother the game is going to feel. Even if your overall FPS is lower than your peak FPS, you can find yourself having an extremely smooth game. Navigate into the description down below and you'll be seeing the MSI Afterburner download link. Scroll all the way down down to the bottom to the MSI Afterburner tab found here, click on download or download beta depending on which version. Inside of the installation of the program will then ask you if you wish to install another program called Riva Tuner Statistics Server or RTSS. Make sure that you do install that program as well, as you need both of them to have that graph. Once you guys have got both of those programs installed, go ahead to the bottom left hand side, search for MSI and boot into the program. Go ahead and select yes, then go ahead to the bottom left hand side again, search for Riva, open up the Riva Tuner Statistics Server, go ahead and press yes again, go to the task icon tray on the bottom right hand side, click on this blue monitor with the 60 FPS counter on it, double click, go to the show on-screen display found here at the top left hand side, select this to on, set the application detection level to medium, go to the on-screen display support, make sure that's switched to on, set this to raster 3D plus, select this to viewport, follow these options found here, then make sure that you have show own statistics enabled, and you can zoom this in or out depending on how big you want the counter to be. Once you guys have got all of that set up, go into MSI Afterburner on the right hand side. It's highly recommended to actually set a manual fan speed with inside of here, roughly towards 100%. Once inside of here, go to the settings cog found here, then go to the monitoring tab found here at the top. Then with inside of the monitoring tab, we can then check every option we want to see with inside of our graph with inside of here. But the main option we're going to be doing is scrolling all the way down to the bottom, finding the F section. If you can't edit the option like this one, double click on the tick box and it will then become editable. The ones we're going to be looking for are frame rate, clicking on frame rate, clicking on show on-screen display, and then more importantly going down to frame time. But this time we're going to be going over to the right hand side to where it says text and set this to text and graph. Once that's then been done, press apply, then go to the on-screen display tab found here at the top, set a quick hotkey. For me, I like to use F10 on toggle on-screen display, press apply, press OK. We can then go back inside of the game. Once you guys have booted back inside of the game, if you press F10, this will then bring up the graph in real time. You can then see your frame graph with inside of here and the overall FPS. What you want to do is find an FPS value underneath what you usually get. Find out what your lowest FPS value is. As you can see, I just dipped there to run about 130 FPS, and that was roughly what my lowest dip was. What we're now going to go ahead and do is actually cap our FPS to that number. To do this, you can use the in-game screen settings with inside of here and set the FPS limit manually, so I'm going to be going with 130. Once that's then been set, go ahead and press apply changes. And as you can see, my game is now capped at 130, but my frame time graph is still jumping around all over the place. What we're going to be using is we're actually going to be using RTSS to actually cap our FPS, which will provide an extremely smooth capped frame time limit. To do this, go ahead and tab out once again, go to RTSS, go to the frame rate limit found within inside of here, set this to the value you're going to be capping your FPS to, so for me I'm going to be setting it to 130 and press enter. Then go ahead and go back inside of the game, and as you can now see, I'm running that same FPS cap, and look how stable that frame time graph is compared to the other ones. We can then go ahead and run around, and as you can see, we're getting a much flatter line with inside of there. This keeps aim consistent, input latency consistent, and your overall experience will be drastically enhanced from doing this. For most games, I would recommend going ahead and actually tailoring this towards the peak FPS you can possibly get, but for games like Rust where FPS can be quite drastic and can differ from server to server, you're much better off actually capping your FPS at a relatively achievable number which you can get after following this guide like I have, and maintaining that number for a prolonged period of time, leaving you guys with a much more smoother, better feeling game. And there you guys have it. That is the 2020 Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for Rust. If you guys have enjoyed this video and are happy with the results, please leave a like on the video as it helps me out tremendously. And speaking of results, please do leave them in that comment section down below. Tell me what your findings were and which FPS you managed to get it capped at and your overall experience now, as it is always fantastic to hear from you guys. And if you guys do enjoy my content, again, please do consider pressing that subscription button alongside the bell notification to be notified instantly or whenever a video goes live on my channel. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I've been Panjano, and I'll see you in the next one.